Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome back. Appreciate this second try. Let's hold on a moment. Let's bring our special guest on. Brother Jamie Graham, can you hear me, brother? Can you hear me, Jamie? He's shaking his head no.
All righty.
Oh, now he's got me. All right. Okay. Well, now that we're going to try this again a second time. Okay. I want to first introduce our special guest, and that
Can anybody hear me? Because I can hear no one.
You can hear no one. Okay. John, you shaking your head like you know what's going on.
Well, not really. I'm watching y'all. I know we can hear him, but he can't hear us. But we can hear each other. So there's something going on. I don't know if he was on a phone earlier. So I don't know if he's still on his phone, if there's some kind of audio issue there. Maybe it's turned down. But we're not having much success at it tonight.
Okay. Are you still working from your phone?
Well, Jason, while you chat back and forth, I'll talk here a minute. So our folks that are joining us, we'll say hello to some folks while y'all figure some of that out here in the background. We want to say hello to all the folks that are joining us here on the program tonight on second try at this. Derek Glover jumping in from Jamestown. Hello to Derek tonight. Also, some of our Tennessee folks on here tonight. Of course, David Pope jumping in, trying it again. We'll try to make it through it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Mr. Carl Jones just down the road here saying hello to us. A happy Thursday. I'm going to say Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. Also, Wes Franklin joining in there from Missouri. Of course, Tony Griffin joining us as well, our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief. Good to see him on tonight. Lots of other folks. Charles LeRae jumping on this evening. And several folks here with us tonight, Jason. So it looks like it's going to be an interesting show. We'll talk through this, and hopefully we'll get this figured out.
I'm not getting anything from you guys.
Okay. Well, okay. I think now here's the thing. Before all this started, when it was just me and him, before we went live, it was perfect. Perfect audio, perfect video. And then once we went live is when we started having the problems. So I don't know what the deal is. But everything was fine before then. So that's the reason why. And he come on about 20 minutes till. So we were working through all of that, and it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
That's the reason I'm not hearing anything from any of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie.
Let's do that. Let's do this, Jason. How about you've got his number? Do you want to communicate? What do you think about see if we can reschedule his interview and give him the proper time that he deserves and make it a little easier and see if we can reset that up and figure this out before the next show. So make sure he's good to go and we can kind of swing this for a little while tonight. I think there's several things that have probably been sent in we can go through and if we can't figure out his audio issue tonight, we can try to get that rescheduled.
Yeah. And right now I just sent him a message asking him if he wants to reschedule. But that's the thing is he can't hear me. So I'm hoping he checks his phone.
Yeah. If he's using his phone, that could be the interesting part.
Yes. So, well, and then Carl Jones has to be Carl Jones, you know, it was in the Army, right? Yeah. Well, I'll just send Jamie back a message and tell him that we'll just reschedule. And then we'll try this again. And that's the thing is everything worked until we tried to go live.
It's one of those things. It's a software thing. Sometimes these issues happen. We expect them. We just kind of go with them tonight. We do appreciate our viewers kind of hanging around with us. I see Wes Franklin asking me about that ice cream, guys. In between that little segment, y'all couldn't see when I was behind the scenes. The ice cream, it's gone. It didn't last. It didn't melt. I enjoyed that this evening. Lots of folks on with us tonight. Jason, we'll say hello to some more folks. David Daniels jumping in here with us this evening. Again, hello to him, Mr. Roy Hudson, on tonight. Hope Roy's doing all right. Glad to have you back here tonight. A lot of our regulars we see on the SCV chat programs throughout. Mr. Kim is joining us tonight there, as well as Jason Lloyd joining tonight as well.
All right. Well, I see Jamie. Let me try to add him back. And Jamie, can you hear us?
I'm hearing you fine now.
All right. I can hear you. Good. Can you see us?
Yes.
Well, hallelujah. We've got
there
some work.
You go.
Yes.
I've been working on it on my end, looking at you guys and going, I don't understand this, but all right, well, here we are.
Yes, we are. We're up and working. We're up and working, and that's a wonderful thing. Jamie, I'm glad you're here. And everybody, this is Army of Northern Virginia Commander, Mr. Jamie Graham. Jamie and I've worked together on several projects. In fact, we're working on one together now. Jamie, I'm going to give the disclaimer again. And that is, and the disclaimer is this: the views and opinions that are going to be expressed tonight, they are just the views and opinions of the person that is expressing them. It's not the views of opinions of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's General Executive Council or any division, any brigade, any camp, or any subsidiary. It is just the views and opinions of the persons that are speaking them. And that is our disclaimer. And I want to thank everybody for sticking around. We had some technical difficulties. We're working now. And Jamie, how do you feel about just coming over and just start talking about the man himself, Jamie Graham?
I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about that. What do you guys want to know? I am your AMV commander. Most of you know me by now. Business owner, Conway, South Carolina, ex-vet, 12 grandkids. We'll throw a little thing in there for us. Our GEC meeting this March a year ago. I know, Jason, you were there and you saw what happened. I had to, just as we were starting the meeting, I had to leave abruptly. And of course, I came back in and I was visibly shaken. But my 12th grandchild was born at 27 weeks. Just to let everybody know, next month she will be 1 year old. She's gaining weight. She's doing everything on her own. She's just as happy a camper as you could possibly imagine. So we're doing really good on that.
Well, and that was such great news to be there.
Are we still there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here. Are you here? Okay. I believe he has dropped out again. John, I was going to bring you back on. I believe he's completely dropped on us. And John, you've lost your audio.
How about now? I had my audio muted. That's my fault this time.
Yes, and Jamie is back. Are you there?
Fine. Did John kick me off because he got tired of me?
No, I didn't have nothing to do with that one. I was relaxing back here.
Yeah, you just dropped completely off. Mm-hmm. I was you had finished talking about your granddaughter, and I remember that was one of the hard to put the emotions behind what we went through. All of us saw it in his face and saw it in his actions, and then to hear him say those words, it was humbling and heartbreaking all at the same time. And everybody felt for him immediately, and and to see her
brothers real quick.
Yes. And to actually know that she's turning a year old. Isn't that awesome?
That's God's blessings on us right there.
Yes. God is good, and he does bless
Come back,
you right
John.
there.
I lost audio as soon as you left.
All right, John.
I guess I'm staying on the screen tonight if audio stays.
Yes.
As soon as you left, audio went away.
Well, I'm going to stay here, y'all. I'm going to mute myself, but y'all can just keep talking. I'll stay here and watch y'all, and you jump in if you need me.
Well, see, now that to me makes no sense whatsoever.
I'm not hearing Jason. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear him. Let me drop off.
John?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you still hear me all right?
I'm hearing you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, this is one of those nights that it's just not going like we would like it to.
There's Jason. He's back.
All righty. Can anybody hear me?
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, we made it. Yes.
We keep on. I'm going to put my bobblehead on here and go see my wife.
Well, and I understand that because it's frustrating and it's tough to do an interview when you're having technical difficulties. It really is because you're wondering, when am I going to drop again? You know, can they hear me?
That's the biggest thing. Is if they can hear us and we can do it, I'm here.
That's
It's
what I
always
love.
you guys. It's past my bedtime. I'm already in.
Well, and Jamie, it's well, you mentioned about you being my first working relationship with you. First thing we ever did together was I believe you were a division commander at that time.
I may have been chief of staff at that time, Jason, but yeah, we worked on some disciplinary issues and different things, and of course, when you were, you were. Well, I had fun with you and Larry McClooney. You were lieutenant commander at the time, as I recall.
Yes, sir. That was wonderful,
guys.
I loved it. It was wonderful. Yeah, and Tom Woods coming on and saying congratulations on 12 grandkids.
Yes, sir. 2 great grandkids, and our 3rd grade grand is on the way.
My stars. How did we get so old?
I don't know about you, but I'm in my prime.
Oh, yes.
Don't ask Chuck McMichaels about that, though.
Okay.
He may have a differing opinion.
Well, okay, but I can remember I was lieutenant commander, and I came to the division reunion and got to actually meet you and really start talking to you there, and then visited again when I was commander in chief, and we had a good talk then, and so tell me. Okay, you've talked a little bit about yourself now. You mentioned about you being a business owner. So what have you been doing? I know that you come on and you visited with SCV Chat when you were running for Army of Northern Virginia Commander. Can you tell us what's been going on in your life since then?
Well, in my life, bringing in the extra grandkid, actually 2 extra grandkids, the great grands. So been busy in that part. My business side, of course, there was some talk about where I go from here as A&B commander. And so I've been busy trying to get my business set up so I can start looking towards semi-retirement. But in that process, I've been running up and down the East Coast, having myself a ball, running up to Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia. I think one of the most fun trips is I did Virginia and West Virginia division reunions the same weekend. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I also found out that West Virginia has more weather than anybody in this world. I left Virginia and the sun was shining, and through West Virginia, I saw sunshine, sleet, rain, snow, ice, and then I got back to sunshine. So it's like, okay, that was fun. But I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements and visiting different camps and stuff. So it's been fun. I think the biggest thing as far as what we've been doing is some of the work we've been doing with the GEC. Mm-hmm. I know you've been working with me on a couple of things, and one of the things that, that I ran my campaign on is that I wanted to work on the website and getting communication system set up. And interesting, Councilman Roy Hudson, he pretty much ran his campaign the same way I did and on the same platform. And he and I both approached Commander Kennedy on some of our thoughts. And Commander Kennedy immediately opened up a website communications committee. Roy Hudson, he is the chair on it, but I am on that committee. And we've been working on iron out some things to get our communications and website set up like it should be. Right at the moment, we've got 3 different bids that were put out that I think Adam may have gotten the bids in now. We're looking for some help with the website and hoping we can find a communication system. Possibly what we're looking at is a communication system that starts at the top and works its way all the way down to camp where we have dedicated emails for all the officers and camps in the SCV.
Okay. Because you and I talked about that.
Yes, we have. We did the program about 15 years ago here in South Carolina. We used the Gmail system, and it's a very effective tool. Of course, when you start talking going wide, it can be a little more taxing, I think is a good word for it. But we're looking at different ideas. I've talked with Commander Jimmy Hill, and Alabama has a similar program. It's not exactly the same as ours, but of course, we're putting our heads together too and try to figure out what's the best direction to go with this. And again, you and I have talked about it too. I think we've got a lot of support for it, and because it's 15 years ago, people weren't really as tuned in on emails, but nowadays everybody's got a phone with camera and email in the back pocket, no matter where they're at. So, but I think we'll have that set up fairly easy and fairly quick.
Well, and I will agree with that. I know from my experience, and I'll just talk briefly. I'll talk about my current experiences I'm having as a division adjutant. Anytime that a camp changes officers, I've got a new set of email addresses I have to put in to communicate with. And that's what we're talking about addressing with this. Isn't that correct? That there's going to be more of a defined address to different positions? And I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, and that's the game plan and what we like. Here in South Carolina, for instance, on my Gmail account for my camp, for instance, it is SCSCV 132. Now, what that is South Carolina Sons of Confederate Veterans Camp 132 at Gmail. But you shorten it down, and you can do the same thing with NC, SCV, whatever the camp number is. And that's just one of the aspects of doing it with a Gmail system. But in that aspect, when I go into my camp email, I have access to all of the other camps within South Carolina. When I am on my past division commander, which I'm still immediate past division commander, and I have an email for that as well. And I can contact all the brigade commanders or any of the camps that I need to, as well as the staff officers and so forth. It's a good direction to go, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the Gmail system, but we have learned that over the last 15 years, it's a very effective system. The division commander wants something sent out, and 3 clicks on his computer, and every one of the camps has got this email.
Yes.
Now, the one thing that we do with that, the camp, with the camp commander or a designated person that he has. I mean, he can have an IT for this, communications guy, he can have his lieutenant commander do it, adjutant, but have a person that is set to handle those emails and make sure that when the commander sends an email, that he gets it out to all the membership. So it's the camps you rely on the camps to put their camp emails together.
Mm-hmm.
But the communication system is working really good with us. And again, talking with Jimmy Hill, theirs have worked very effectively as well. And I'm hoping that between all of us, we can get this put together. And if we can find the right website, we might be able to actually do it through the website, all in one token. The biggest key to it is no matter who does that system, you've got to have somebody to maintain the system.
Yes.
But it's just, well, for instance, in January, my camp finally, we got a new camp commander. And the night that I swore him in, I handed him a piece of paper and, all right, there's the email address for the camp and there's the password.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead and log in, it's yours. And it's just that simple. Now he's taking care of the camp emails.
Yes. And that's one of those things. It starts as a grassroots, like you said, but you were talking about this as being a top and for a feeder down. And, you talk about doing it on the national level. You're talking about doing it at division level, Army level. And as we all know, communication is the key. One of the things that we have to do is we have to talk to each other. We have to communicate with each other. And that's also one of the purposes of this program right here is, SCV chat and all of that. Word goes out immediately. As you know, by the mistakes that have happened tonight and the bugaboos that we've had and the gremlins, that this is a show. And so when you have live shows, you're going to have it, but it's a way to communicate. Social media can be an extremely helpful way to communicate. It can also be the devil's playground. So you have to proceed social media and you have to treat it that way. Cautiously optimistic is kind of a way I see social media. Now, as far as this email program that we're talking about, and this is like Commander Graham has said, this can be passed on to the next person. Somebody's not having to go and change. Like to me, I have as adjutant, I had a new camp send me their officers. I have to go in and physically change their email address in my system. Whereas before on their end, if they would have had it at the camp level, the change would have been made there and not with me.
Well, and that's what we did. I took over as division commander from Leland Sumter. And of course, at that time, I already knew what his email account was, but he handed me his password. I signed in and I took over as division commander. I did my 2 terms as division commander, and then Perry Smith took over. Mm-hmm. I handed him the password. And so now he's running that. And the same thing will apply at our next division reunion. He will be taking my position as past division commander. And of course, our past division commander sits on our division executive council. Mm-hmm. So he has an email. And again, the same thing will apply. I'll hand him the password for past division commander, and then he'll sign into that account and I'll move on down the road.
Yes. This is something that when Commander Graham was talking to me about, this is something that I appreciated right off the bat. I mean, this is something that it makes position changes. It simplifies position changes. People are rotating in and out of office every 2 years. And, once you get it set, you've got to change it. Well, this is only changing it because the person that's replacing you, you hand it to them and they go on about their business, and that's instead of having to, get in touch with me, get me to change it. And then what if I mistype it? Because it's not SCV, it's, like John Blankenship, it might be 20 characters long, so it's, so that's one of the things that you have been working on since you have become Army of Northern Virginia commander. And what else has been on in your view?
Well, one of the other things I worked on, we talk about a lot about disciplinary, and um, I won't go into great detail because I'm not at liberty to. But one of the things that I've seen since I got on the GEC is that when we have a disciplinary issue, um, let's just say problems exist. Would you say that's a good word, Commander Bashir?
That is a very, yes, sir. That is a good word. Yes.
Okay. Um, and in many cases, things get drug out. And I remember we were on a Zoom call, and it was concerning a certain disciplinary issue, and this is something that had been drugged out. And I remember what Commander Kennedy had to do, and I was watching everybody on the Zoom call, and no one was happy where we were at with this. And we finished the Zoom call, and I got off that, and of course it was later in the evening, and it just bothered me. I'm like, something's not. Morning, I got up and I started researching the way that disciplinary issues were handled constitutionally, and the way they were set up for camps and commanders to do it. And as I started pulling up into it, I realized it was a lot of problems involved in it. And I called Commander Kennedy and I told him, I said, we need a specific form in here to simplify this. This way, if someone has to prefer charges against an individual, it needs to be uniform across national. And he asked me if I could put the form together by the EC meeting, and I told him I have it done. And of course, I talked with you a lot about it. I talked with Lieutenant Commander Griffin. Put the form together at the last GEC meeting, as you well know. We voted, and it's actually on the website. For those of you listening, if you go to our website, National's website, go into the documents, and it says Understanding the Disciplinary Process. You will find the form in there. I think we put this thing on about a third, fourth grade level. It's very easy to read, very simple, to the point, tells you exactly what you need to do, what you need to have, and how to go about it. But on that same token, as we were talking about that, I think the entire GEC realized there's need to be handled on it. And Commander Kennedy, again, another ad hoc committee, disciplinary issues committee, and he made me the chair. Told me to pick my committee, and I did. And Commander Boshears is actually one of the members of that committee, and we've been working on this for the last few months, trying to simplify it, take out a little bit of the excess that's not necessary, and do as much as we can to make it for those who are preferring charge or those that are accused. And I think we're just about there where we need to be. I've had about half of the GEC review it, and where we're at right now, everybody's telling me they like what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can, in Kentucky, maybe we can get this fixed and make it simpler for everybody involved and fair.
And that was one of the things that we talked about. First of all, was simplifying the process and keeping the process from drawing out for 6 months, a year, something like that, and to make everything the same and fair and balanced and everything. And there was some excess in there. You are correct. Yes.
Well, not only with the excess, but there are certain points in it that, because as a GEC member, I need to be well advised on what's going on from start to finish.
Yes.
And there are some things in the Constitution that don't actually clear that like it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And and you know, Jason, you and I have talked about this. If there's a disciplinary issue in A and V, um, the person who's involved or the people that are involved in it, they're not going to go pointing fingers at Jason or Commander in Chief. They're going straight to the A and V commander because that's what they elected him to do. And I want to make it where it's any member of that GEC, it's clear what needs to be done. They're well advised and understood the process and what's happening, so we can make sure that it's fair for everybody involved. And I would like to see, instead of this 6 month to 9 month dragging this stuff out, I firmly believe that there's no reason we cannot handle most of these disciplinary issues within a matter of 3 to 4 months.
I agree with that. Yes, sir. And that makes the process better, is to streamline that. And again, as you mentioned, communication, because you're going to be communicating on the GEC better on this, because how the GEC has to make, and has to make a good decision, and to make the best decision, you have to have the most amount of information that you can have, and you don't need it cast upon you. Now make a decision. Okay. You don't need it fed at you like a Pez dispenser and then go, okay, now make a decision. No, you have to think about it and all that. And I like where it's going. I do. I think, and I want to thank you for working on that, because that's a complicated issue. And it's because emotions and everything else get involved in it. And those are things you have to take into consideration along with the facts. So,
well, Commander, there is no perfect world.
No, there isn't. Thank you for saying that.
And there's no way that, I'm glad that John brought some ice cream out there, because one of the about flavor ice cream. I could be at that GEC meeting and serve ice cream one, but I promise you, someone's not going to like the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You're just not going to make everybody happy all the time. It's impossible. But what you have to do, and the goal, and this is my goal sitting on the GEC, I don't see myself as an A&V commander. I see myself as a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans with a position to help our organization. And that's my task while I'm there. I want things to be simple and fair, because, we're constantly talking about growth, but I own a business. And over the last 6 months, I have grown my business by about 45%. Now that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that, I have to have my ducks in a row with my. And the same thing applies with the SCV. If we've got contradictions here and too much backbiting, and we don't have our ducks in a row, you're not going to be able to grow. You're not going to be able to retain. Retention is going to be a nightmare. And if you look at where we are right now, retention is a nightmare.
Yes.
We don't do terribly bad at bringing people in, but retention is the key. And that goes directly back to our ducks not being in a row. And when I ran for A&V commander, that was one of the things that I told people, that I had intentions to get up there and help fix what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I look at it from a business aspect. We have a business to run. I have to make it profitable, and I've got to be fair to everybody involved.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great business plan. And that's what we have to have as an organization, is we have to treat it, because I know it's personal to us, and it's about our ancestry, and it's about our family lineage, and it's about these brave men who placed themselves to put an invading army in their home. But when we're running this, we have to sometimes treat it as a business.
Mm-hmm.
And there comes a time things have to be a business decision. And I know it's hard to accept because it's personal, but
Mhm.
it still has to be run as a business. And
Well, keep in mind, Commander, when for us it's personal.
mhm,
Um, you know, but you and I have been in this a while. And when we start talking about recruitment, um, for those people that we're trying to recruit, it's not personal to them yet.
mm-mm,
It gets personal when you get involved and you truly realize what it is. That's when it gets personal.
okay,
Uh, and I remember when I was in Virginia, and I made the statement that if you're in this room and you're not SCV first, you're in the wrong room. And I I thought they were going to give me a standing ovation. They shocked me with the applause. And as a matter of fact, Commander Kennedy was there, and I looked over at Tony Griffin, Lieutenant Commander, and he looked at me, and I looked over at at Donnie, and we're all a little bit amazed because of the applause. And then it shocked me, but it told me that these people, they are SCV first. This is personal.
mm-hmm,
This is in their heart. And those people that we want to get in here, they're not there yet. So we've got to figure out how to reach out to them and bring them into the fold so it does become personal. Because it's more than just cleaning up a cemetery, it's more than cleaning off a tombstone. Um, this is a history that we live. I live and breathe it every day. This is our family we're talking about, and we we've got to do everything we can to make it work for those that are going to be coming in as well. So, how do we work on retention? First thing, up our own backyard.
okay,
Um, Part of doing that is some of the same things that we're talking about now. Get a website, get it updated, and I know we're going to have to do something else with the website because current IT is actually running for division commander in South Carolina, unopposed
mm-hmm,
right at the moment. So I can tell you from experience, Division Carolina, he becomes the next South Carolina division commander, and that will be next month. Um, he ain't gonna have time to be in IT.
yes,
Now I
yeah,
can go and enlighten you to that. I happen to know the job he's planning on taking. Been there. I There's things that I'd like to just do on our recruiting efforts. Um, I think I think our billboard program was a good idea. I know there were some people that didn't like it, but Commander Chuck McMichaels, he gave me some numbers because I actually run some test numbers on the billboard program that we did recently that Lieutenant Commander Griffin had put. And the numbers that Chuck told me sounded really good. And so I went back and I was looking at one of the issues with the billboards in the past. And you and I had talked about this before too, Jason. Um, the You could drive around and you see SCV billboards. There was no uniformity on them, and I saw a lot of beautiful billboards. Now, for me being an SCV member, being an AV commander, when I drive by and I see a billboard that's too busy and I don't have time to read it because I'm running 70 miles an hour down the interstate, but I saw the SCV logo, so I knew it was one of our billboards. Um, but I know what it is. That guy who doesn't, we talk about us being the best kept secret in the world. I mean, here we are since 1896, 1894 technically, but and we're the best kept secret in the world to be around as long as we've been here. And so we need our image out there, but we need for people to be able to catch it. I can see a busy billboard and know what it is, but to get that guy who's driving down that road, I like the way we did this billboard program because it worked. And according to Chuck, we had some good hits on it.
Yeah.
I would love to see us expand on that. I've said it before. I told you earlier, Jason. I said I would love to see a guy who's leaving, say, Pennsylvania and driving through Maryland on his way to Florida to vacation. And when he hits Maryland on I-95, he sees our billboard. He gets to Virginia, sees it again, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And then he gets to Florida to his destination. It's like, what is this? By the time if he left Pennsylvania, by the time he got South Carolina, he'd have his wife go over there, pull up that website. What is that? And of course, on the website, this goes back to this key. We've got to have something there that invites them. And while he's in Florida, do we have museums in Florida?
Right. Yes, we do.
He's vacationing down in Florida. When he hits on that SCV tag off of one of our billboards, we'll be able to find a museum in Florida that he can stop by and visit.
Yes.
He hits that and he sees the museum that we have in Tennessee, our museum. So this is some of the thing where we can start bringing people in. I love the idea of bringing in teenagers and kids, but we all know that teenagers and kids are not the ones who have the money. And you've heard me say this before, a teenager or someone in their 20s, the SCV is not what on the majority of them's mind. And it's not until, men are looking at women on average in their 20s and 30s. They're raising kids from the women they were looking at. And it's not until they're about 40, maybe 50 that they actually have time and money to be able to get involved in something. And they're actually looking for something. And these billboards, that's the crowd we're going to be targeting. I think it's the direction we need to look at and to be able to expand on that where we can make it beneficial for us.
Commander Graham, can I jump in since you're talking about billboards? That's something I've been working on today with our rep today and getting some prices on some good locations. And here's our first sample the Tennessee Division has put together. If you can see that one. It simply says Southern History Matters. It's got our Tennessee Division website and General Forest. They're real simple text, big, that you'll be able to see.
Looks good.
So we want to get those out there, find them in the right location. Something we've talked about in our division executive council meetings is where do we want to target most? Are we getting a place that people are actually going to catch it, that they have interest in us? We know there's some areas that are just not going to do us any good at all, but some that it's our prime location to recruit and we need to be seen there and visible.
Yeah, no question, it works. But I learned this in business. I had a friend of mine one time. He opened for those who don't know, I own a pest control company, Absolute Pest Control. And I had a friend of mine. We had worked together at Orkin years ago, and he opened the company about a year before me. And he got his nice truck. He had it all lettered and painted up and everything. And he came over to the house and he's like, Jamie, what do you think of my new truck? And I'm like, man, it's a pretty truck. What do you do? And he's like, what do you mean? I says, there's so much information on that truck that I can't find the name of your company or how to contact you. And Jason, you've seen my trucks. They're very simple. Who I am, what I do, and how do you get in touch with me? Because at 65 miles an hour, that's about all they're going to have time to see.
Yeah, something quick, how they contact you, and something that just stands out quick.
Quick, it grabs their attention. They know what you are, what you do, how to get in touch with you.
Yes. And I like the idea of the billboards for several reasons. When I was CIC, there was a camp that won the camp with the most growth in a year. And that was because they had advertised and they had used billboards for their advertising. And it was Pensacola, Florida. It was the camp in Pensacola. And they had the largest membership growth. And that was the only thing I could hang that on, was the fact that they had placed billboards in strategic areas. And I'd like to kind of get us back to the point, and Jamie, if I can borrow something that you were headed down when you were talking about the fellow that was leaving. He was leaving Pennsylvania, and he sees one in every state. I want these to be like the old Burma shave advertisements. I want people to count them and look for them. If we can get to that point where, they, like you said, he crosses into Maryland, he's into Virginia. By the time he's getting to your state, South Carolina, he's looking for one. And he's going to say, okay, that's the sixth one I've seen on this trip. And, there has to be some similarities between them. So people can easily recognize like the SCV logo or something like that. Because I know we say the speed limit's 70, but we've all been on the interstate. Come on. So we know that, no, not me. I set my cruise. I never did.
How fast I drive.
Yeah. So I get accused of running slow all the time. But anyway, but I'd like to borrow your and to continue to use your mindset of when a person leaves and goes on a vacation. Wouldn't it be nice if we have our own members, like they're traveling north and south, east and west to get to Lexington, Kentucky, and to our national reunion, and they're counting the billboards in July, because our Lieutenant Commander in Chief, Tony Griffin, who's using his recruitment and retention efforts to bolster this program. He's, if I give him $500 to camps, to give them to divisions, to be able to sponsor these. And wouldn't it be nice for them to be, and he said he was going to extend it. And it was going to go to, yes, we did Jackson in Virginia for his 200th birthday. Yes. So, and let's say that he extends it and it's June, July, and August, or it goes until he goes out of office and, and it goes through July. Well, wouldn't that be nice if we're at the national reunion and people are counting the billboards coming to national reunion? This needs to be a thing. It needs to be so many of them that it's like Burma shave and you count them. That's just my humble opinion.
It's an extremely good idea, a good way of doing it. There's nothing perfect, and we know that, but we make it work.
Yes. Well, there is no perfect way to recruit or to keep people, to recruit or retain.
And one of the things with the billboards, and it goes back to best kept secret. Well, let's not be a secret. If we're such a secret, then let's fix it. Yeah. Billboard is one of the prime ways of doing that. There's our logo. There's a quick message, quick website, bam. And the ones we put out there with Robert E. Lee on them, those were perfect. They looked good. They worked. And it's a recognizable face. So this is a direction to go to make this work.
Yes. And I actually personally think the billboards are a great idea. I know people say, well, they're antiquated or whatever. I can tell you from as much time as I have traveled, and I traveled a lot when I was in, and still do. Well, I depended on billboards. And I'm just going to tell you, when you're going down the road and you're saying, okay, I'd like to stop 50 miles ahead. Well, you're starting looking at billboards for mile marker. You're at mile marker 200 and you want to stop at round 250. You're looking for stuff at 250. And it also was a great way to, pass the miles, so to speak, is by reading billboards and doing that. So to me, I use them. And to me, there was a reason why they've been around since people have traveled. Go ahead.
If you get on an interstate, guess what you see? Billboards. And they're everywhere. And as long as every one of us have been alive, they've been billboards out there. So clearly they work.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to get our name out there somehow. And I think that's one of the simplest. And our target crowd, we want to get. I would love to see anyone from the age of 12 right on up joining our ranks. But our crowd's got to be the crowd that's got money, and those are the ones that are on the road. When I say got money, what I'm talking about, we get that child in here, and that's a good thing. But somebody's paying that child. And if that kid's coming in, you know his father's got an ancestry. Well, who's paying for that kid's dues? Who's bringing him to that? And that's the guy we got to be targeting.
Yes.
You know. And again, when that guy gets it 35, 40, 45 years old, he's looking for something to do besides fish and hunt. Because his teenagers ain't wanting to talk to him anymore. Trust me, I got 12 grandkids. I know exactly how that would play out.
Well, yes, and you're right. At a younger age, you try to plant the seed because, and let's just be honest, I grew up calling it perfume and gasoline. That's what my older uncles called it, because you hit that age and you're in the cars and gasoline and girls, perfume and gasoline. And then you go and you get married, you get a job, you're raising family, and then you come back, and that's when you bring your child in. And we all know, and the kids are. Somebody asked me one time, well, what's the perfect age? The age of interest, which can be somewhere from the cradle to the grave. I mean, and I don't want to say, well, I'm trying to get this group of people. No, I want anybody who's interested and who shows it and who likes this. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a 6-year-old kid and he loves to come and see a reenactment. That's who I'm interested in. If it's his grandfather that brings him to the reenactment, that's who I'm interested in. So, even if they're not members, if they're into that, maybe we can bring them into the organization, And like you said, a lot of times when I've talked to them about it, I've been reenactment clothes, I've been reenacting and talk about it, mention the Sons of Confederate Veterans. They go, I've never heard of them. And the billboards is a way to remove the secrecy, don't pay attention. We all know the thing in Wizard of Oz. Don't pay attention to the guy behind the curtain. No, let's pull the curtain back and let's let people see who we are, because that's how our recruitment improves. And then we have to have our ducks in the pond before we can keep them. So yes. So Jamie, where do you see this going in the next year? Because what are your future plans over the next? Now that you're A&V, you've got you're running for re-election. Where do you see all of this? What's your goals? What is interesting Jamie that's keeping him up at night, making his mind work?
Oh, that's a big question, Jason, because I could go for days on that one. Hey, I'm intending to run my second term as A&B commander. I think we've gotten a lot of work done so far. I'm nowhere near finished with what we're doing. I'll make no bones about it. At this point in my life, I am thinking from A&V commander, lieutenant commander in chief, and possibly full boat. I'm working myself to get into a semi-retirement stage where I can go there. And Jason, you know me a lot. I mean, the people that are on here that know me, it's not about a title to me. No. But I can tell you, that gives me another 6 years in a position on that GEC to continue doing the work that I'm doing now. And not and this is not patting myself on the back, because it's an effort with members of the GEC. I work with you. I've worked with Larry. Me and Tony work all the time. I'm working with Chuck on different things. Um, it's a community effort among friends, to try and do what needs to be done and to protect our membership. And I also understand. I mean, you look at Chuck, for instance, Paul, um, the years that they have been on the GEC, and there will be a point where you get tired, and you need a breather. I mean, it's human nature. But I'm fresh, and it's it's new and it's exciting, and I see I see things where I think that I can help from my past experience in business and military and everything else that I've done throughout my life. I think that I can help the SCV moving forward, to help us grow and help us start retaining our membership.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tony, and a few people popped on, and I was thinking about something that our Commander in Chief Tony Griffin said earlier about the billboards, and then I was kind of thinking about this when you were mentioning what you did during yours, and then about not seeking a position. That's what I've noticed. You're not there. There's work. Okay. Tony works. You work. It's not positions. When you take and you get into this, whether it's Army Commander, Army Council, it is a camp commander. There is a job that comes with all of this, and it is to do the job. If you treat it like a position, is when things start to fall back. And when you have a guy and he comes in and he likes being the camp commander and he treats it as a position, well, the camp's going to become stagnant. Because, and first of all, since he's not doing any of the work, he's fine with being commander for 10 years. Well, the camp becomes stagnant over time. And then, but you look at the work, and that was one of the things we were talking about earlier with Tony Griffin, working with the billboards and all of these things, that the work is being done by men such as yourself and by men such as Tony Griffin. And it's not treated as a position. Working with you, when we were working on this disciplinary, it was very clear it's what's the best thing to do for the organization. That's the first thing I took away from our conversation with that. What's the best thing to do for the organization? So, and that's what, y'all don't treat it as the people on the GEC, they're not treating this as okay, well, hey, I'm so-and-so. It's, well, we've got this work we've got to do. And that's what I like. And now, would you like to talk about anything like that, or are you?
Well, and I like that. When you and I were first talking, you asked me to come on tonight, and and we were talking about how what should be our dress and the general attitude here. And I told you I wanted to do it casual. Mm-hmm. I could sit in here in my suit and tie with my little AMV giggle and all that kind of good stuff. But that's me trying to be AMV commander. I want to come in here. I am an SCV member. Mm-hmm. I want to see things get. With Tony and I had talked about it, because there had been rumors of me running for lieutenant commander this next term. Mm-hmm. And when Tony and I were talking about it, I told Tony, I says, I can't do it now because my job, my business, I would not be able to do the duties of the lieutenant commander to my ability, and I know I can't. My job, my business takes too much of my time. Now, what I do in the AMV up and down the East Coast, it's not a problem for me to jump out there and take a day or two extra with the weekend. But now for Jamie to jump on the airplane and fly to Houston, that took a little time away from my work. And I know as lieutenant commander and commander in chief, that is part of the duty. And that's why I stepped back from it, because I know that I can't perform the duty to the best of my ability at this point.
Yep.
But on that same token, I know from my conversations with Tony, Lieutenant Commander Griffin, and my conversations with Commander in Chief Donnie, we are of the same mindset of moving the SCV forward and doing everything we can to protect the SCV while moving it forward and growing it. And when the three of us are having these conversations, we're not talking titles. It's Tony, it's Donnie, it's Jamie, it's what do we need to do to fix this? And that's where I see myself 6 years, maybe even 12 years from now, depending on how we go.
Yeah. Wow. You know, I hate to say this, but that's almost the perfect way to end this interview, because you just actually put the chocolate into the vanilla ice cream with those statements right there.
Well, it was the only way I could get some. John wasn't sharing.
Yeah, it was gone too fast. Y'all didn't know I was going to have that tonight.
Well, folks, I know that we had to stop and start, and right now, since we started with those restart, we've been going just a little over an hour. I'm going to open the floor again to Jamie, see if there's anything else that you would like to finish up and say, or John, if you'd like to ask a question or two.
Well, let me ask you something, Jamie, if you don't mind. Tell me a little bit about our folks that are watching tonight that may not know you very well. What are some of your accomplishments as like a past division commander, even in a camp level? What are some things that over years that stand out that you've done that you're really proud of that you can kind of use on that resume? I was kind of putting you on the spot.
Yeah, because now you're going to make me have to brag on myself a little bit or pat myself in the back. Maybe I can poke some fun. As a camp commander, and I won't deny the fact that I am an A personality. And I remember as a camp commander, we're doing the awards and everything, and I was going to division reunions prior to being after being a camp commander, and I kept seeing this one camp going up here taking all kinds of awards.
Mm-hmm.
Camp number 4 in Charleston, South Carolina, one of them big camps. And I said, you know what? I got to knock them off their perch. I got to be camp of the year. And you know, we had a little small camp of 30 some odd members. And it's like, how do I take these big boys down? Well, I did it. Not once, not twice, but several times. So as a camp commander, we had fun because I brought the camp together where we really worked, and we were able to show that a small camp can do as much as a big camp. You just got to get out there and do it.
That's key what you said, working together. You got them working together, not one or two people, but the whole group being involved, wherever their talent is, working together.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and Jason will well remember this. Couple of people that are watching will remember this. When I did division commander in South Carolina, it was one of the closest elections in South Carolina history. And when I closed the meeting out after I was elected, I would say that turmoil would be understated.
Mm-hmm.
Our division was split. We were actually in trouble at the time, and my goal to bring our division back to a brotherhood where we work together. And after 2 years, I had an individual up in the Greenville camp. He told me, he says, Jamie, he says, I've never saw this. We got upcountry people and low country people sitting down, having lunch together, not in separate groups, but sitting at tables together and in having meaningful conversations. And it, when I ran for re-election, no one ran against me, which I thought, after 2 years of working this, I thought it was odd because I just knew I'm not going to run for re-election because someone's going to assassinate me or something. But, it actually worked out really good, and it wasn't just me, but one of the things that I did when I started working on my staff, I made it a point to not just go after people I knew or friends. I didn't want that. I searched out people that could do the job, and there were a couple of people that I put in positions that I know didn't support me as division commander.
Mm-hmm.
They knew the job, and I think that combination and us working together for a common goal was able to bring our division back. And I'm very proud that I was able to help move these men to get us back. And South Carolina right now is a fine-tuned division. We are working hand in hand now jointly with the UDC. And so we've got a lot of stuff doing, and we're actually trying to bridge with the MOS&B as well. So we're doing a lot of work there, and I'm very proud of what I've done there. With the A&V, time will tell. Time will tell.
Well, I think it's important to see that you focus, and even though you haven't really said that unity and bringing people together, it shows in what you've just described there that is a goal there as well, to bring the organization even closer together.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great tonight. I've enjoyed this. I've got to sit back and just listen and learn, and have enjoyed the evening.
Well, and if I may say something, South Carolina is a very good division. I've been there to their reunion, and I think you have your reunion up. I believe it's March 21st.
Yes.
And right now I'm planning on being there because I have enjoyed every time that I've ever been to your reunion. It's a very good group of men, and they are hardworking men. And I enjoy being around them every time I leave. And there's a simple reason why. And I'm going to be selfish for a moment. I go there because when I leave, I take something with me. I take being a man, and I take the knowledge that they have. And every time I learn something. And that's the reason why that I like going. And I'm looking forward to being there March 21st.
Looking forward to seeing you, Commander.
Yes. Yes. And Jamie, again, our special guest this evening is past South Carolina Division Commander, current Army of Northern Virginia Commander, Mr. Jamie Graham. And Jamie, again, I want to thank you for visiting with us tonight. And even though we had to work through these technical difficulties, what I liked about it was because I sent you a message saying, hey, if we need to reschedule, and you go, no, if we can make this happen, let's make it happen. And I love that straightforward approach. Let's work through the issue. And I like that. And I appreciate appreciate you coming on and visiting with us. Everybody, I want to thank everybody. Thank our esteemed Jamie Graham for visiting with us. Jamie, would you like to finish up and say anything?
Esteem is a funny word coming about me. I want to thank all of you guys for hanging in there with us. The technical difficulties, but that's the key. That's what we do. We work through things, we fix it, and we make it happen. And for all of you guys that stood there and kept watching me bobble my head all over the place, because I do not. Everybody, if you know me, you know I don't like cameras. I don't like film, but it's part of the territory. So, but I appreciate y'all hanging there with us. And you guys, if you need me, it doesn't matter where you're from. I'm here. All you gotta do is call me, and Jason can verify this. Call me. I missed the call. I will call you back, and I'll call you back soon.
Yes. Yes. And he does. I've called him and he's called me, and we missed each other's call, but we still make contact back.
Right.
Yes. And as Jamie said, I want to thank everybody that hung in there with us tonight. We really do appreciate it because you saw us start and have issues, have hiccups. The gremlins come in and we had to cancel it and start back. So we start back about 7:20 Central Time, and it's around 8:30 Central Time now. Appreciate everybody sticking with us. I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the shows that we have here. Right now, you're on Look Around Confederation, which is on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. On Friday night, we have Douglas Southall Freeman, David Pope. I don't know if David's still on or not. I think he's going to be going live. Every other week, he does a live show, so he's going to be going live for Friends of Douglas Southall Freeman, and that is at 7 p.m. Central Time on Friday. We don't have a Saturday night show, but Sunday night at 7:30 Central Time, we have Hardy on History with Michael C. Hardy. And on Monday, we have the show that started it all, SCV Chat. It's at 7 p.m. Central Time on Monday. And on Tuesday, you see John Blankenship and myself on Tennessee Tuesday on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central Time. And David Pope is going to be doing a program on John Tyler. So you can join him tomorrow night and do a program on John Tyler. I want to think about the sponsors of the show. And they're scrolling along the bottom. Thank you, sponsors. We have Patreon members. You can go to scvchat.com /Patreon, and you can join the Patreon. Now it's different levels. $2.50 a month is Feed the Moose level. As you know, he always complains about being a broke college kid, even though that was a couple of years ago. He is, so we have Feed the Moose level. Then we have the $10 a month level, which is the real chat head level. And then we have a $30 a month level, which is the merchandise level. And you join that, and every few months that you're a member, they'll send you something, a label or something like that. And then they have the $80 a month level. And we have multiple sponsor levels. One of them is Chris Cummings. He is a John. Do you want to say something about him? You work
Dr.
with
Cummings, of course, is in northern Mississippi there and does a fantastic job. We know one of his specialties is knee pain, Jason. So as we all get older, we're all going to deal with that. And he's a specialist there that can take care of that and get you a solution, get you back to moving better. So Dr. Chris Cummings, we appreciate his sponsorship of SCV Chat.
Yes, and then we have past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney. You can go to booksbylarry.com and see all the books that he's written, and his latest one is Paradox of Freedom. And I want to thank past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney for being a sponsor on the show. And yes, thank you for popping that up. Yes, and that's the newest book, History of Black Slaveholders in America. And that's published by Scuppernong Press, which is our esteemed gentleman has been putting out the Confederate Veteran magazine, I think, for 23 years now.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it for a number of years. And then we have another sponsor with the 31st Regiment Engraving.com. Visit there. That's coming out of California, but that's that's Todd, the commander out there who's doing that. And I want to thank him for everything he's doing. We want to thank our Patreon members. We want to thank our sponsors, and we really want to thank Jamie Graham for visiting with us. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you for hanging in through all of the issues that we had. But I love that attitude. He said, "No, let's work on through," and we did.
Well, now it's time for me to go to bed.
Yes, sir. Because it's 9:37 your time, and you're going to have to get up and go kill bugs tomorrow.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to get Tony to come on down here and crawl under a few houses with, you know.
Well, yeah. I
He's
think
an
that'd
old
be
lady
good.
scared of it.
Yeah. I think that'd be good if you could get him. Y'all could crawl under some houses, and I think that it would go well.
Well,
Yes.
I am going to have to throw this out because, you know, while we were talking, you know, and you're going through that, so I started scrolling through some of the commentaries in there, and I got to give a couple shout out here. I saw my squid friend Tony running his mouth about the Navy. I saw two of my jarhead friends. I think that would be Carl and Charles. And they were talking about, let me guys, you know, the Army's the best, right? Roy Hudson's on there. He can back me up on this.
Well, let's see. I was going to see if I could actually find where they were talking about that. Yes. I was going to pop their comments up. Let's see. And I do remember seeing those on there. Yes. And I see Carl. Yes, I did see Carl got on. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. See, okay. And we got a few people that walked in saying round two.
Yeah. I was being polite to them while they were sitting there making their comments.
Okay. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, yes. I did see this Carl comment.
Yeah, so did I.
Then Tony had this to chime in.
All right, Charles. Just for you.
Well, and I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Okay, I think that just wrapped it up. I think we can have our wrap party now. Jamie, again, thank you for joining us. We're going to leave on a commercial. John, if you don't mind playing us out with commercial, and then we will end the show. Thank y'all, everybody. Stay Southern.
Appreciate it. Bless Dixie.
Yep. Y'all have a good evening, and we'll close out with this.
Was your great-grandfather a traitor or a patriot? Today's politically correct are trying hard to take away the heritage of the brave Confederate soldiers who fought and died for their land. But one thing is certain, they can't change history. Those Confederate soldiers were fighting for the same reason soldiers fight today. They were fighting against homeland invasion. We believe that the desecration of the bravery, patriotism, and honor of those men should not be allowed. They were outmanned and outsupplied, but they were never outfought. They were proud men who believed in fighting to protect their dignity, their homes, and their families. If you're the male descendant of a Confederate soldier, we'd welcome you to join with us in the preservation of that heritage. We're the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Check us out on the internet at scv.org or call us at 800-MY-SOUTH. That's 800-697-6884. Sons of Confederate Veterans, dedicated to preserving the reputation of men like Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and your great-grandfather.